Johannes, if you only had 1 minute to give music artists the best advice you possibly could, what would you say? 1 minute on the clock.
I would look at other artists who are successful. Now, when it comes to marketing, for example, artists who are successful doing marketing campaigns, look at what they're doing, learn from them, and then make it your own. And test a lot, try and error. That's the game of creativity as well. It's the same with making music. You need to try out a lot of stuff, and you fail a lot. But I like Emile Cioran's quote, failure is the gateway to discovering who you truly are at the core of your abilities. So it's basically your best friend. So test a lot, fail a lot, try out a bunch of stuff, and move on.
Brilliant advice, honestly. There's a quote that's similar, like I heard that was very similar, something like fail hard, fail often, fail early, or something along those lines. And honestly, like, I feel like the best thing you could do is just like get yourself in a situation where you can fail as fast as possible, as many times before you're successful. So that way you can fail in private instead of failing publicly.
Yes. And I think it's also in business, it's like fail fast. I think that was like the Facebook had this in the offices and stuff like that. No, I think failure is we have an unhealthy relationship to failure in the West. No, it's basically just feedback, learning, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything in marketing is all just about trial and error.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everyone here, we're going to go through a couple of things because Johannes here has some awesome experience we're going to walk through. He's worked in the business side, working for Warner, Universal, and the music publishing as well. You've toured all over the world with some pretty prestigious people. And we're also going to cover flow states and creativity output and making the best of your time and your creativity and being the best artist you possibly can. So let's dive into the business side first.
Okay.
Just because a lot of people here are looking for the music business, music industry, music marketing juice, so to speak. And so this was after you were working as like a performing artist and touring the world.
Yes.
You got into the music industry. So just kind of give us a backstory on like working at Warner, Universal. Like, what is that like, and what did you see?
It's a while ago, but because of the experience with my band back then, you're actually a small business owner, and then you have to build business relationships with record labels or tour booking agencies or like companies who print your merch, all kinds of publishing. It's all business relationships, and because of that experience, I started studying business administration, like in Hamburg, Germany, got my degree. And then after attaining my bachelor's, I started working a little bit for Warner Music in Hamburg and then for Universal Music in Berlin, first digital sales at Warner. And back then, there was no streaming. Was download was a thing, but still early steps. And I think the United States was way ahead of Germany. Germany is kind of conservative, they're not like to take risks, and jumped on that entire digital music thing quite late. But that was quite interesting. I think the most I got out of the experience at Universal, because I was at the international marketing department. So, I had I was part of like the team that was doing marketing for Bon Jovi and U2, that kind of thing. So it was huge. Yeah. And then I had the chance to be a product marketing manager for two bands at Universal. Black Bell Brides was there one. I don't know.
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, and then Hollywood Undead. I think those two.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. That's one of my wife's favorite bands of all time.
Oh really? Lucky
I'm
me.
a decent. I'm not like a hardcore fan, but I like especially their first album. I love their first album.
Okay.
Honestly, that might have been the one you were. That might have been the same time period you were working on their stuff. Actually,
2011. 2011.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I don't know, I had a hell of a time and I love Berlin. So it was a great team at Universal. Very exciting to see like just how majors operate. You know, like there's a big machinery, of course, behind that. Um, and then after that, I went to grad school in the UK, in Glasgow. And then I moved to California. Yeah.
nice. So I'm betting a lot of people are probably wondering, like, hey, I'd love to work for a major label. I'd
Mm.
love to work with these established artists and marketing campaigns and product sales or whatever. Um, how did you get that initial opportunity to actually work at like a Warner or Universal?
You start as an intern. That's how you get into those companies, and then you have to work your way up. You know, you have to be valuable to the company. And I had a really really cool boss at Universal who gave me a shot. You know, probably we liked each other, and he liked my background, and then he just gave me the opportunity. So, and that's,
Nice.
yeah, that happens. It's in the end, it's really making human connections. And it doesn't matter if it's B2C or B2B. It's always building relationships with other human beings.
When you started, like, what kind of work would an intern at a label do? Obviously, it was probably different, 15 plus years ago. But what
Yeah,
would they have you doing?
it's a lot of admin work, and you support basically all the product marketing managers and
Mm,
whatever stuff they don't want to do. You know, like, and the team assistants, you're basically their assistant.
right.
You know, and then when they are on vacation, you take over their tasks. So you learn a lot. You have crazy insights. You know, you have to schedule meetings all the time. You attend meetings, you know, marketing meetings, or meetings with the promotion department. Or online was social media was so early back then. It was crazy. Now it's everything. And back then it was print. Print was huge. Radio was huge back then. Yeah. Nowadays, no one cares about that stuff. Yeah.
I know it's weird, like, because it's we kind of take it for granted now that everything's social media, but it's so weird to think that it just didn't exist even just 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was like MySpace,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
MySpace. Yeah.
and a lot of bands really blew up on MySpace, and and then it died, but then like social media just kept growing and growing, and now it's like it feels like it's the only thing that matters, and a lot of artists hate it really, like really badly,
Yeah.
which is it's kind of a blessing and a curse, right? I mean, what's your experience been with social media in the music world?
Yeah. I'm barely myself on those apps. You know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather. It gives me, if I'm really honest, it gives me anxiety when I'm just open that thing. You know, and so I want to stay away from it. But from a marketing point of view, that's touch points directly with the people you want to engage with. And I think it's actually, if you want to make it and build a fan base, I think that's a really good way to get in touch with the people who might like your stuff, right? That's one way.
yeah,
Yeah, and you need to figure out what tool or what channel works best for you. No, there's also nowadays, I think people are more accustomed to advertising. No, it's not. Yeah, which is yeah. I had the feeling like back in the, yeah, like a decade ago, people were more like anti ads, and these days they're more open to it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
I
any,
think people have kind of accepted that anytime something is free, they're going to be marketed to, and that they are a product in some way, and
Yeah.
everyone's kind of accepted it, for better or for worse.
Yeah. How do you feel about like organic content or like running ads? How do you feel
I
about
mean,
it?
I'm a huge fan of both. I mean, on one hand, I even though I basically make my living on social media, right? I mean,
Mm.
YouTube is kind of a form of social media. Um, I love the YouTube stuff, but when it comes to Instagram and TikTok, I hate it so much. Just
Mm.
the short form, bite size. It's hard to say anything meaningful, and it just always feels fake to me. But it's really good to do. So like I encourage everyone, like,
Yeah.
basically post as much as you possibly can in social media, and I still do post in social media, even though I don't really enjoy it like I do the YouTube side and the blogging side. Ads, I'm a huge fan of. I run. I mean, I own an ad agency.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Link down below for everyone watching.
Haha.
But I'm a huge fan of ads, and I've gotten amazing results with them. I've even just campaigns I've run alone. I've driven
Yeah.
well over 150 million streams on Spotify
Yeah.
with
Damn.
ads. So the ads
Congrats.
work.
That's
Thank
great.
you,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's on other people's music just because they hired me
Yeah,
to run
but
their
still,
campaigns. But
yeah, you made it happen.
it's kind of a crazy number thinking of it, because I remember just 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I was like struggling to get my first 1,000 streams on my own music,
Mm.
and now people come to me to run ads for their stuff, and it's kind of surreal. But it's this social media thing. It's this double edged sword where like all these artists that I talk to, because I do talk to a ton of artists, so many of them tell me that they hate social media,
Yeah.
and they feel like they have to do it,
Yeah.
and they do it, and sometimes they do really well. Like I know people that have gotten like 100,000 followers organically in only like a year or something short like that, and
Nice.
they see the power of it, so they do it, but they don't really want to do it. They do it because they have to, because otherwise no one listens to the music. Same for running ads. Most people don't enjoy running ads. I mean, you'd have to be kind of a sick bastard to to enjoy the act of like running a campaign. But the reality is, once you start doing it and you start getting results, it becomes fun. It becomes a game. And even the content side, there are people who fall in love with the social media content side, and that's like a perfect situation to be in because it's so useful.
Yeah, I think you said a good word, a game. Yeah, if you can turn it into something playful, like you change your perspective, then I think you can actually enjoy it and be good at it. And what I think is good about ads, you can automate it. And it's such a powerful, those platforms are so powerful these days and they work for you, just in business terms, exploit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going kind of rewinding back in time from your business years, so to speak. You were in touring bands, and you've toured throughout Europe, the U.S., Brazil, Hong Kong, Japan.
Yeah.
You've played with all these people like Chris Hess, Hoobastank. This guy named Kenny Aronoff. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, so I
Yeah.
apologize, Kenny.
He's a drummer.
But you've played with some awesome people, and you've toured all these countries that are like far off destinations. So, like how that happen?
Yeah, it's that was also all before social media. And it's I think back then it was easier to connect with people. You just so you start your band, you fall in love with music, and then you listen to your favorite band. Oh, I want to do the same shit. So you start playing in a band, and then one comes to the other, right? Back then it was, I don't know. I went to shows, picked up flyers. When I saw an email address, I just hit those people up, And then in Europe, I think it's a little bit easier because the countries are so small,
Right.
And then I think it was easier back then. Nowadays there's just way more competition. And I'm pretty sure like they get a flood of emails or like like all those things. But yeah, you play shows, you connect with bands. They invite you to other shows. Then there are some indie labels, like they like what you do. Then you have your first release, and then one comes to the other, no? And yeah, that you get a deal then with like, I don't know, booking agencies becoming interested in you. Then you have you're becoming part of cool, I don't know, tour packages. You play some festivals, you get publishing deals. But it's this the life sector. Like playing and playing and playing and playing. 80 shows per year, that kind of thing. Touring. I don't know how it is these days. The Instagram artists, they never go on
I
tour.
feel like it's even though so much has changed, I feel like a lot of it is still kind of like a lot of people do get shows by connecting with bands, going to shows, like seeing them, trying to network with the bands, and like, hey, I have a similar band. If you guys are ever looking for an opener, we're tour ready. We have a whole set list down. 'Cause I don't know if you know Matt Bacon. He's on TikTok. He also covers music marketing stuff, but he's very much in like the metal world, and he's
Okay.
specifically very honed in on like live
Yeah.
performances. And so he's talked about, if going to shows, just like hanging out,
Yeah.
trying to chat with the band members, trying to chat with the fans, like being part of like a scene and a
Yeah.
community, and making it known that you're like part of this and you're trying to get into it, and then getting a band to just let you open for them, and then leveraging those relationships.
I think, yeah, what we touched on earlier, it's really loud. It's really about making connections with people, building relationships. And I don't know, what really attracted me to like this heavy music stuff, hardcore, metalcore, is the intensity. It's so fucking intense, makes you feel alive so much. And on stage, you behave like an animal, and you look down at the crowd, and they behave like animals. it's, it's really, I don't know. You just let go. You forget everything else, and there's like this. The scene we were a part of. They always called it like a family. One unity. No, it was despite the fact that it was so like very aggressive music, it was always positive. Like very very respectful, and I love that. I think it's when you're a teenager or young adult, it's like everything to you. It's your entire
Yeah.
world. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we were playing these bands, was this your band, or did you like join
No,
another band?
that was the band with my brother together. We were just a 4-piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, was a small town in the northern region of Germany, and then toured the globe. Yeah.
Nice. So you built it up from
Yeah.
scratch,
Yeah.
toward the world.
Started in I don't know, in the basement of my parents. I was
Yeah.
12 when I went to my first show, and when I started as a bassist, and then later switched to being the frontman. You call it singing? I don't know. It's just shouting or screaming, whatever you want to.
Yeah. I call it vocals,
Good.
just so that it includes both singing and
Yeah.
screaming. That's amazing. So how do these collaborations take place then? Because the Hoobastank, the son of George Harrison, like all these kind of crazy things. Like, how
Yeah.
did you pull that off, or did it just happen through the label connections
No,
and the tour
that's
connections?
all relationships I built over here when I moved to California. And actually, Chris Hess from Hoobastank, I think I met him when I was 2 weeks here, because I met this guy. Forgot, I'm blinking on the name right now, but he played in a punk grassroots band, and they recorded I think a few songs at Chris Hess' own studio. He has a little studio, home studio, and that dude, I think his name was Johnny. Johnny asked me like, "Yeah, do you wanna join me? Like I wanna just redo some vocal tracks." And I said, "Yeah, sure. Let's hang out with musicians. Love it." And then, oh shit, that's Chris Hess. I know the reason. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's such a nice dude. Yeah. And then I asked him if he wants to record some of my vocals, if that's cool. And then I asked him, would you be down to play some drums? And he said, yeah. And he played a little bit of drums on a couple of my songs. I don't know. He's such a cool dude. Yeah, really nice guy. despite all the success he had. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always good to hear when a
Yeah.
successful artist is actually like still a cool human after
Yeah.
everything, because sometimes they don't always turn out that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially in a place like Los Angeles, I assume. Yeah.
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 How do you even like you're hanging out with some people to make some music, and then it turns out one of the guys there is from Hoobastank? Like,
Hmm.
what? How do you like? Were you regularly going to certain like events in the area where you would kind of put yourself in close proximity to musicians, and then just or like how do you? Because like it's stuff like that doesn't just happen. Like you kind of have to interact with the right people. So I'm kind of wondering like how do you get yourself in the right room and meet the right people to start this kind of network effect?
Yeah. So Chris Hess was just random. Just
All
random.
right.
Kenny Aronoff, also very random. I used to live in Ventura, a little bit further up north from Los Angeles, and I just wanted to track some demo vocals for a song I was working on. And then I booked this local rehearsal room, studio, whatever, like a weird thing. And the owner just told me, yeah, my co-owner here, my boss actually, I think he would be interested in just listening to your stuff. And it turns out that was the engineer of Kenny Aronoff. And then that guy asked me, do you want to join me in Hollywood, tracking some drums with Kenny Aronoff? And I said, well, okay. I don't know who that guy is. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh, I recognize that face. And then he played a couple, drums on a couple of my songs. The same thing. I just like we hit it off. I think I didn't even ask him. He just offered. No, also, yeah. Also, very. Sometimes it's. I don't like the word luck, but let's just use it. You have to be lucky sometimes too. You know, sometimes things just pop up.
What what is your experience with like people trying to reproducibly get themselves back in that state where they can just crank out high quality music in a predictable manner?
Make it make it a habit. You know, like have a dedicated time per day that you focus on making music. And the cool thing about when you about this creative process about the songwriting is there's you need in order to get into flow you need to challenge yourself. You know, you need to stretch yourself a little bit, you know, to find that state. And scientifically, you talk about the flow channel. That's the midpoint between boredom and anxiety. You know, you need to be you need to be a little bit anxious. You know, like because anxiety drives attention, but you can turn into anxiety also into excitement because it's the same neurochemical signal in your brain. But the cool thing about this songwriting process is that it's basically when you try to write a new song, it's right where the challenge skill balance, that's what it is, you know, where challenge and your skills, your abilities, like, find its balance. And then you find
Yeah.
flow. And songwriting is basically a natural process where you challenge yourself. Hey, I want to get this done. For example, you on the guitar, and it drives your attention. You know, that's why most flow is experienced while writing a song. Actually, have a dedicated time where you try to really just focus on making music. No notifications. Everything is deactivated. There should be no distractions because most distractions are self-created. You know,
Yeah.
so be your best friend. You know, take care of yourself in that regard.
Yeah, if you have an iPhone, the focus modes are amazing for that. Like I have a
Hmm.
sleep mode, obviously. I mean, I think everyone has a sleep mode,
Yeah.
but then I use do not disturb all the time. And I even have like a vacation. I have a vacation preset. So when I'm on vacation, I have like customized notifications that I get and don't get because like I want to be able to enjoy my vacation. But I feel like everything you just said about music applies to the content side of things as well, because I kind of do a similar thing for like it's very rare that I'll just set up my camera and just film a video. It's like I'll kind of before I film, I'll kind of like mentally go through a video in my head, and sometimes I'll have like a script or bullet points, but I'm kind of just walking through in my head like, okay, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to go to this window. I'm going to go to this website. I'm going to show them how to do this, and then I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to plug this course here, and then I'm going to go back to this stuff. I kind of map the video in my head. But one thing I do heavily is I batch content. And I found that helps me a ton.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's just like once I get started, I'm all like jazzed up, like I'm kind of like energized from filming the first
excited.
video, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about it. I'm into it, and then I'll try to every time I film, I try to make it so that I have like 3 ideas ready, so that after if I do one video, I can just film a second and a third if I have enough time. And it helps me a ton because it's just so hard, like getting the motivation to get something started. But if you already started, doing 5 of them at once is way better than doing 5 at 5 separate times. I found. When you initially chatted and talked about doing a video like this, the reason why this topic of like flow state stood out to me is because in the current music industry landscape, artists are pressured more than ever to be releasing music and content constantly.
Yeah.
And you don't want to release crap. You want to release good music, but you can't always release the masterpiece every month or something. And there's artists nowadays releasing songs every week, which I think is like ridiculous.
But yeah, if that's the game they want to play, then all power to them. Like that's. I can tell you, writing a song, you can write fast, but for me, I just the most enjoyable part is actually then turning that song into something in collaboration with others. Like you hit up your buddy, and then you just try things out. Like I really love that. Also this moment of surprise, and that's beautiful in collaboration. I think it takes creativity to a whole different level. It's like a tennis game back and forth.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing my solo project for a while, and now I'm kind of focusing on my bands because I just enjoy the process more. But I for one of my bands, I do the instrumental and vocals, but then I send it to my drummer, and he writes his drums, and that just like dramatically transforms the song in a whole new way. And then I used to do the production, but now I send it to a producer who does production, mixing, and mastering, and he just takes the song to a whole new level in ways that I could never do on my own.
That's interesting that you say that. Is it also from a productivity perspective that you give it away? Or is it also...
That was how it started. Originally, it was just like, I don't have time to like, this guy could do better mixes than me.
Right.
And he could do them faster than me. But then it was like, he sent back a recording. He's like, oh yeah, I added a couple of guitar layers. Like I quad tracked this part you did. I added this harmony layer to this lead track. I added these synths. And I'm like, and I was like, did you just learn all my parts by ear? And he was like, oh yeah, I learned it by ear. And then I tracked my own layers. And I was like, whoa. And I listened to the track and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is like a million times better than what it was before.
Yeah.
So what started as a time-saving thing turned into something that, to me now, is like almost a critical part of the process.
Yeah.
Just having like another human go through it and kind of like transform it in a way, like it just, I don't know, it adds some extra juice to it that just makes it sparkle.
Yeah, I think mixing is an art form in itself. It's the way we experience the music. Yeah. And that's why, for example, I reached out to Forrester Several. I wanted him to mix that fucking song. So because he is badass in what he does. And the other thing is also, nowadays you don't need, you have everything in the computer, all instruments on the freaking planet. But what you don't have, if you do it yourself, all the experience, all the knowledge, all the skills of an instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you sit there and listen to, I don't know, I love cello and I love piano. I think those instruments are amazing, especially cello. I love this instrument. And when you just listen to what another human being creates on an instrument, like that's his or her craft, and it's just mind blowing, and it adds so much more to the music, I think. And in the end, it's just we're all human beings. We all love music. Let's don't take that away from others. Like being a part of something. I don't know. That's my opinion. I know.
I've never met my producer in person.
Hmm.
We just do everything through Zoom.
There you go.
He lives like 4 states away, and one of the guys in my other project, Murder Night, it's like a dubstep metal thing. He lives in another state. We've only met once at NAMM like 4 years ago. He was going and I was going. We met, but we've written and released like 6 songs together. We have like 4 or 5 more in the pipeline now.
Badass.
We've met once for like 2 hours. Everything
Yeah.
else is just Zoom and phone calls and emails and texting.
That's also an amazing time we live in, that we have the
Yeah.
chance to do shit like that. Yeah.
This has been an awesome conversation. Is there
Thank you,
anything you
Andrew.
want to leave the people with? I mean, obviously, I'm going to be linked down below. Check out the book. Also, check out your website. I think you guys have some. I think you have some like freebies on your website, or some downloads, or some resources people can check out to learn more about
Yeah.
everything we
Yeah,
talked about. So
there's we have a free community, music flow community, where I upload like interviews and also master classes. It's all for free.
nice.
Please join. What I can tell, what I would love to share, it's in general, creativity is a species of knowledge. So if you have more knowledge about something like music, if you listen to other people's music, then you have more resources available to play with, to be creative with, and your subconscious will work for you. So consume other people's shit, be a fan of music, listen that. Your subconscious will work with it and you come up with more ideas. If you understand this, and then you have to go on walks in nature in general, like, because those induce mind wandering, you come up with creative insights. If you understand those two things, very simple things, I don't think you will ever have writer's block. You will struggle creatively, and that's good because you want to challenge yourself and want to make dope shit. But those two things, keep consuming, building your knowledge base, and have a constructive mind wandering practice. And this is part of the creative process, just going on a walk.
Anyways,
Cool.
Johannes, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank
Everybody
you,
watching,
Andrew.
check out the links below. And yeah.
Badass.